Good morning, everyone. So this is going to be the third episode of the ADHD is a Superpower podcast. Like the other podcasts, it's all going to be just voice only because I have had lots of trouble posting videos. So I record a video and then I can't upload it. It takes me hours and sometimes days sometimes to post, and sometimes it just doesn't post at all. YouTube doesn't upload the video. And I'm getting frustrated with having episodes where I've done the work, recorded stuff and then not being able to upload it. Is very frustrating, which is why now I'm switching everything to voice only. And there's a plane. I'm gonna wait for it to buzz off. Okay. Today I wanted to talk about some helpful things that I've discovered dealing with my ADHD that I wanted to share. So one thing that I think a lot of people with ADHD struggle with is having lots and lots of ideas that kind of feel like this explosion of ideas that then you really don't know what to do with, because you feel like there are so many things you want to do or so many different things that take up your mind, that you feel almost paralyzed because you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go from there. Like, how am I I have so many different ideas. I don't know what to choose. I don't know what to do. And it's kind of this kind of paralysis that comes from having so many different things going through your head and having so many different ideas. And this is where I'm going to tell you it's a superpower, because, usually you don't have. This is basically like a burst of creativity, but then you need to learn how to harness that so that those ideas turn into action, because things that just only live in your mind can't, you need to turn those ideas into reality in order for them to become tangible, I guess is the word. So that's what I want to talk about today, because this is something I have been struggling with, and I want to share some things that have helped me and I hope will help you guys. One thing I'm going to keep going back to, because it has been so incredibly helpful for me and it's something I've resisted so long, is journaling. I don't know why I have such a big issue with journaling. I've always had this issue. I've never wanted to write down what I think or what my thoughts are, because I feel like why would I want to do that? I mean, it's like, if someone can just pick up my book and read my thoughts, in such an invasion of privacy, and I just don't want to do it. And if I'm really, really stuck, if I really feel this intense emotions, I would open up my laptop and I have a password protected file, and then I type stuff on there. But I only used it when my thoughts and emotions were so overwhelming that I just need to write it down. But I never used it as a way to harness my creativity, which is something now that I'm doing, because I finally got over that resistance within me that was so against journaling. And I started doing it, and now I love it. I actually carry around a little notebook with me everywhere, and in that is basically everything. It's not like a diary. I do put down dates, but that's because I like to know when I had a certain idea. But it's basically everything and anything. It has poems. It has my ideas for my business. I'm actually leafing through it right now so I can give you real examples. I have a to-do list. I have a recipe for a sandwich that I thought of. What else do I have in here? Yeah, I've got a lot of poems because I was writing quite a lot. it was helping me, and I kind of find it helpful to put down my thoughts in the form of poetry, but because then it feels less like an invasion of privacy. It feels less like I'm oversharing my, it helps me maintain my privacy without, but at the same time gets out my feelings. But I do also have little bits and pieces where I do just write down stuff like, I feel stuck. Why? What am I supposed to be doing right now? And then I'm not going to continue because it's private, but that is literally what I wrote down a couple of days ago. And then after going through that process and doodling on the margins, I just noticed that I doodle on the margins. And then I ended up on the next page writing down a poem. Well, to be honest, I wrote half of it then, and then today I finished it. So this is what I mean about how journaling, just as an example of how useful journaling can be. And another thing I guess I've been forced to face is that privacy, why I want privacy so much. And yes, privacy is good, but then it was also me being afraid of my shadows, afraid of thoughts that I'm not afraid, ashamed of thoughts that I had that I felt like were wrong, and then fear that people will read it and judge me for it. And then I was like, okay, first of all, in this case, what I need to do is stop being ashamed of my shadows, because they are a part of me. I need to stop judging myself, because the reason I think people are going to judge me is because I judge myself. So even if someone does invade my privacy and start looking through my stuff, then that's on them. They shouldn't have done that, because that is they're at fault. And there is nothing in here that I am ashamed of. But at the same time, I'm not going to read you a whole page of my journal just because it's my privacy that I want to maintain. But it's not because I'm ashamed. I can still read it out to you. I'm not ashamed of it, but I don't want to because it's my privacy again. I hope that makes sense. Also, I will... I just do still believe in that importance of maintaining privacy. But I realized that my issue with journaling was a lot more than that. It was about being ashamed of my shadows, and that is not something I'm okay with, because you shouldn't be ashamed of your shadows. Your shadows are part of you. It's natural. You should face them, integrate them, be okay with them, be okay with the decisions you're making, and move forward. All right, so that was about journaling, and that is going to lead me to what I was going to say about how to harness all those different ideas you have. What you can do is literally, when you are having one of those moments when you literally feel like there's an explosion of ideas that you don't know what to do with, I find it very helpful just to sit down with my journal or notebook, just sit down and literally write down all those ideas one by one. And this is not like a to-do list. This is just taking them out of my mind and putting it onto paper. And that kind of reminds me of the pensieve in Harry Potter. Dumbledore and Snape, they have one, and they literally remove thoughts from their head and put it into a basin, a magical basin, and that lets them sort of examine their thoughts, I guess, more objectively. And I think this is another way to do that, when you actually write them down, it stops kind of bombarding you in your head, because you've taken it from your head and you put it onto paper, and then you're looking at that piece of paper, and it's like you can think around it. You're no longer overwhelmed by all those thoughts you have. And that is why I think journaling is quite useful. And I don't even know if that counts as journaling. That's like mind mapping, I guess. I would say it's more mind mapping than journaling. So you could do it in the form of pictures if you're an artistic person. If you're not, or if you're, if you feel that you're not that good at drawing, like me, I'm still learning. You can write stuff down, which is what I usually do. And I have, I like being organized because it helps me organize my thoughts. So I usually have headings and subheadings, just nothing fancy, just just a simple underline to show this is a heading. And then I have different space on a page. I will have different sections for each of my different ideas, and then that just really helps me. And then having that on paper means that I can look back at it any time that I feel stuck, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was my idea, okay, let me do this. So it's like having a little blueprint of what you want to do, and that helps me. Another suggestion that I have is, if you have multiple interests like me, it's really a good idea to have so that there are about, I don't know if I've actually talked about this before, or if was in one of the videos that then I couldn't upload. So I apologize if I am repeating myself. It's hard to keep track of what has been uploaded and what I've been unable to upload. But what I want to say is, so if there are 16 or 18, 16 hours a day that you're not asleep, right? So 8 hours you're asleep, 16 hours of the day that you're not asleep. And you can divide up those hours. So what I would do is look at the hours that you're definitely not free. So if you're in a full-time job, or if you're going to school, then obviously that will kind of block off certain hours of the day for you. And then look at the rest of it, and then divide it up, your interests, and give each interest an hour or 2 hours, whatever you want. But that is another way, like timetabling is another way to organize yourself so you actually get things done, or you're able to devote time to your different interests. I actually use a diary for not a diary, like a calendar. I have like a weekly a book that's like a weekly calendar, and that sort of helps me a lot. But at the same time, I don't follow it religiously, because this is where my element of wanting to have control and wanting to sort of have flow and go with the flow more comes in, where, I will devote that time in my calendar or in somewhere, but then at the same time, I'm not like strict with myself. If I don't feel like doing it, I don't force myself to do it, because art is not something that should be forced. But it is helpful to kind of have those penciled in hours where you devote yourself to this, you devote yourself to whatever artistic pursuit you have. And then it gives you, at that time, you can decide whether or not you want to do it. Or maybe, let's say you like painting and you decide, actually, I want to spend 1 hour after around 7 o'clock in the evening, from 7 to 8, I actually want to spend that hour painting. So I put it into my diary, or put it somewhere, or put it in my mental calendar, whatever it is that you're comfortable with. But then when 7 o'clock arrives, you think, actually, I don't feel like painting right now. I actually want to write. So do that, write. Or you decide, actually, I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit and do nothing. Sit and do nothing. But this is a way that you can... And then when you feel inspired to, you can pick up the other thing, what you want to do. Because I really don't think art should be forced. And I feel like yes, it's good to have discipline, but at the same time, there's no point in forcing yourself to a deadline, because it's all about creative and going with the flow. And if your mind is telling you, I don't want to do anything, it's probably because it needs rest. And you should listen to your body, you should listen to your mind, because when you get over that rest period, you will come back feeling stronger and ready to take on the world. That's what I've been experiencing over the last few days. I've just been sleeping so much. I've been taking naps throughout the day. I've been sleeping through the night. I've literally been almost pretty much neglecting my artistic stuff, even though I have written poems and I have been going out. I've been going to cancer research, and I've been going to see a friend. So what I mean is, other than that, I have literally been almost comatose, and I'm like, what is going on? Why am I in this depressed period? And then I got a message from another tarot reader, and it's like, just rest, it's okay, you're going through you need this rest right now, because you need to rest now, because what's coming is going to be intense. So this is what the message I got. So I was like, okay, I will rest, since if what's coming is intense, then I need to be rested for that. So this is what I mean, that you shouldn't be too hard on yourself. And if you're feeling like resting, you should rest. But as I said, having all your ideas written down can be extremely helpful, because it means that sometimes you might find yourself with an hour free and you're not in a rest period. You're actually happy to get started on some project, but then you're kind of stuck again. You're like, what do I want to do? And then if you go back to your list or your mind map or whatever, and then you kind of glance over it, one thing might catch your attention more than the rest. And you should pay attention to that, because nothing is a coincidence. If your mind is being drawn to something specific, it's because your intuition is guiding you towards that. So you just pick that up and do it. And that is perfect, because you will get stuff done that you wanted to do, but maybe didn't have time or energy for before. But if you do find yourself, because I have that all the time, where, I'm like, okay, I have this hour. Actually, today that's what happened. I had to wash some clothes, so I put them in the washing machine. It's going to take a couple of hours, and I can't go out until I get that done. So I'm like, okay, I want to go out because I don't want to stay home, but I need to stay home for this time. What can I do? Well, first of all, I had a shower, so that was good. Personal hygiene is always good, guys. In case you didn't know. I'm sure you knew that. Okay, I'm going to shut up. But then I was like, okay, I want to go out so that I can, be in a different environment. I don't want to be stuck in the house. I want to draw stuff. I want to draw for the art therapy session on Sunday, so I can paint it. So that's something I really wanted to get done before Sunday. But I don't want to do that here. But there is something that I cannot do when I'm out, because of no privacy, and the weather is not good, it's raining, so I can't really sit in a park. So that is recording these episodes. So today I'm hoping to record at least 1 or 2 episodes so I can upload them later on. So this is what I mean about using so I basically used the time that I was stuck in the house, and decided, okay, what can I do while I'm here that I cannot do when I go out? Because I can draw while I'm here or when I'm out, but I can't record these episodes when I'm out. So let me do that now. So that's what I mean. So when you have multiple interests, multiple things that you're doing, it is always helpful to have it written down, so that you can then decide, okay, when can I devote some time for that? Okay, so that I think should be it for this episode. I don't think I have anything else. Do I need to say anything else? Hold on. Yeah, I'm just going to do a quick summary, and then if I've missed anything, I can pick that up. So with ADHD, it's common to have explosions of ideas, lots of creative interests, and it can be quite overwhelming sometimes. You can become paralyzed and not actually go ahead with anything because you feel like you don't know where to start. And that is a great time to just get a piece of paper or a book, notebook, and just write them down or create a mind map of all the different things, have them organized, have it as a drawing, whatever you prefer, and keep it and then you can look at it from an objective perspective and think, okay, well, when can I do this? When can I do that? And sort of having a little timetable in your mind, or actually getting a diary and writing down, okay, actually on Tuesday afternoon I'm going to do this, or on Saturday morning I'm going to do this. Even if you don't stick to it religiously, just making that plan and thinking to yourself, okay, with what I have now, with the time and the energy I have now, what can I do? And this is how you can harness your creativity and get those things into a tangible form. Your ideas, your brilliant ideas. I'm sure they're brilliant, because that is why I say ADHD is a superpower that's not harnessed properly, that is being suppressed. So this is how you harness. You get that creativity and you harness it by organization, I guess. And this is a way to organize that Ferrari brain. This is what my dad, who's an ADHD specialist, this is what he always calls the ADHD brain is a Ferrari brain. So you need to learn how to drive a Ferrari, and you have to adapt to it. You can't drive a Ferrari the way you would drive a normal car, right? So it's kind of the same thing. You need to adapt to it, and this is one technique that I personally have found very helpful, and I hope it can help you too. All right, guys, until next time.